Welcome to the Portland Culinary Podcast on Portland Culinary Radio. I'm Stephen Chalmers, your host. Really excited. Today we're going to be talking about Rolling River Spirits. Joining me is a special co-host, Matt Fields, co-founder and head chef at Stella Taco. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great. Super glad to be here.
You ready to drink some spirits and talk about some awesome stuff?
Yeah, jumping right in on this beautiful Saturday.
Okay, we have got joining us is Rickard. I get that right?
Yes, indeed, you did.
So you and your family, you guys started a Rolling River Spirits. So what year did Rolling River Spirits open?
We actually opened in 2014, though we started thinking about it in 2011. It took quite a few years to get there.
Okay, and so we have a lot of really cool distillers, not only in Portland but in Oregon, and you're part of the Oregon Distillers Guild.
Absolutely.
You do a lot of serving and volunteering there.
Yes, indeed. It takes a lot of time for all the volunteers that work with the guild. We spend a lot of time helping things out.
Yeah, it's important, and I appreciate you doing that. Okay, so standard questions we ask on the Portland Culinary Podcast. Where were you born?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. Way back down where the moonshiners tromp.
I like that. And where'd you go to high school?
Actually, went to Southern California, Redlands High School, down out by Redlands, California.
I used to live in Redlands, right off of Alabama.
Ah, okay.
I know exactly where the high school is. And what was the mascot?
It was Terrier, a little rat dog.
Very vicious, the Terriers. So your mascot was the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
I think the Eagles would swoop down and pick up the Terriers.
Yeah,
so.
no, most definitely.
Yeah, right. A snack.
Okay, and what happened after high school?
I started migrating north, ended up at Humboldt State in Northern California, then kept coming up to Portland quite often, Southern Oregon, ended up visiting my brother and a bunch of friends down there during the late 60s and early 70s, and then moved on up to Portland for a while, up to Seattle, and then back to Portland, and we've been here for a good 20 years.
So I bet Humboldt State was interesting back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I did a Portland Culinary Podcast episode with Vicki Allenback, and she has Skamakaway Farmstead Creamery, a horrible name because nobody can say it, and I tease her about that, and I can't even spell it. But she also spent time, probably at the same time era, back in Humboldt State. Some of the stories she tells off the podcast are quite interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of interesting times, a lot of interesting people.
Okay, so tell me if I got this right. Humboldt, up and down the coast, a little bit of time in Portland, then to Seattle, and then when parole was up, you moved to Portland permanently.
Yes.
And I'm just kidding about the parole part. Okay, so what did you do professionally before you opened the distillery?
I worked for about 3 decades in the semiconductor industry, making computer chips.
So you're an engineer.
Yes.
So you're dang smart.
Maybe.
Numbers make sense to you.
Yeah, well, they can, depending on how big the numbers are.
So my friend Don Scheit often co-hosts the Portland Beer podcast with me, and I love teasing because he says things like toroidal, and I'm like, come on. A donut is toroidal shaped. It's not actually a venereal disease. So
I was actually just writing that down to look that up later.
Yeah.
Toroidal.
It's like, why can't you just say donut shaped? But no, that's how you engineers roll. He was also in computers and engineering. Okay. So you thought about the distillery in 2011, but didn't get it open until 2014. It is really hard to open a distillery, isn't it?
Yes, you have to go through all sorts of permitting from the state, the city, the feds. Then there's all the equipment that is usually delayed, and then finding the proper spot with all the safety environmental things you have to consider. So yes, it's not an easy task.
Yeah, hats off to you. Okay, so what made you decide, you know what, I'm going to be a distiller professionally?
I'd been, like I say, three decades in electronics, and I wanted to do something different, and as a family, so we said, let's make alcohol. We thought about breweries, but breweries are kind of like the coffee shop, one on every block. And then we said, wineries, 5 years to find out your grapes are no good. And then said, well, wait a minute, I'm a chemist. Let's make alcohol.
I love it. So where did your spirits journey begin? When did you first start drinking spirits?
Probably mid-late high school. I started sipping on it a little bit. It was always beer and wine, the old,
right?
The old El Cheapo wine out of the 7-Eleven, but it's always a good place to start.
Well, in Southern California, you knew about Circle K.
Oh, absolutely. There you go.
Not everybody knows about Circle K, but they used to have those down there back in the day.
Yep.
And so you had... And so did you drink spirits in college or beer more?
Actually, a lot of beer, but definitely I hung to the vodka. I was always a vodka kind of guy.
Okay, what's your favorite cocktail?
Simple, vodka, cranberry juice. And it's got to be a light sugar cranberry juice, so just a very light, no lime. So it's not a, it's not a big mixer.
All right. And when you were younger, did you do any distilling or brewing or winemaking?
Made a lot of beer, a lot of wine, and did early days. Worked by the light of the moon for distilling a little bit.
Yeah, I think for those that don't know, some people don't realize you can legally homebrew. You can legally make wine at home, but you cannot legally distill, which I think is just stupid. I don't actually understand that.
It's all in tax dollars.
It's a little backwards.
Yeah, it's all in tax dollars.
Okay, so you had some background in fermenting
Yes.
before you decided, hey, we're going to have this distillery.
Yes, absolutely. And it definitely helps because basically you make beer and then you take it one step further and you make hard alcohol.
You make beer and then you make it better.
Yes.
Definitely. The building blocks.
The building blocks, yes.
Okay, so where'd the name come from?
Actually, we were having problems coming up with a name. We wanted something to roll off the tongue. And family was up at Mississippi Studios having dinner one night. Woody Guthrie's Roll on Columbia came on. And my daughter goes, hey, let's use Rolling River. And we immediately thought, oh, that sounds good. Google. Couldn't find anything. So Monday morning, we're out buying the trademark.
And that was your daughter, Elizabeth.
Yes.
I like that. So Woody Guthrie, Roll on Columbia.
Yeah, from back in the 40s when he was being paid to make all those songs for building the dams and all the work around the Northwest.
That's fascinating. Okay, so tell me about the family component to the business.
Well, there's four of us. Myself, my wife, she's in charge of the gin, so we just call it Jones Gin. She's got a couple of variations going on right now. We just have one on the shelf. Then my son is.
Wait, you have one on the shelf, but there's more. Is there more coming?
Yes, there is more. coming.
Can you give us a sneak preview?
There's what would be called an Old Tom, but we're going to call it Old Mom. She's got a really nice thing there. Got a couple other variations, all sitting in oak. It's just a matter of time. There's no time before it's time, so that's got to be right.
So you know when it's right just by knowing it's right.
Yes, it's all by taste. Every few months we'll do a taste, and if it's good, we'll pull it out. Everything's getting real close right now. Then my son, he...
Okay, so there's an Old Tom, Old Mom. Any other gins coming? Because I love gin, man. That's my rules. Only before noon, all I drink is gin, although I will make an exception, for a Bloody Mary once in a while.
Yeah, I think those are the two major ones right now. I think there's another gin that's being aged in a used Merlot barrel.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is really tasty. After about a week, we took a taste just for the heck of it. And it was like, oh, this is going to be really good when it gets old, when it gets some age on it.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Okay, so now you can go on to the vodka.
Okay. And then I'm in charge more or less of the vodkas. I like a good clean vodka. We use an organic non-GMO wheat. So we make it really, the wheat gives it a little sweetness. The number of distillations, I use a reflux style column, so it's equivalent to 10 plus distillations. Makes it nice and easy on the palate, easy the next day, which is very important. And then I do a couple peppers. I do habanero and Trinidad Scorpion, working on a ghost pepper, and I'm doing mild and hot. I could make it to pop your eyeballs out, but not too many people like that one, but the mild and hot make it real tasty. Then my son is in charge of all the aquavits.
So that's Tim.
Yes.
So your wife, Joan, she does the gin.
Yes.
And helps run the tasting room and the business.
Yes.
And then you oversee the vodkas.
Yes.
And then Tim, what does he oversee?
He's more or less our master distiller because of his talent of being able to come up with these recipes for the different spirits. And he oversees the aquavits and our coffee spirit right now, and a couple others, and the whiskeys and the White Dog. We actually have unaged whiskey moonshine, if you want to call it that, on the shelf also.
Okay, and Elizabeth?
She is more or less, she's kind of our remote master mixologist. She can come up with a cocktail recipe off the top of her head with taking one sip of an alcohol that she's never had, and all of a sudden she'll have 7 different cocktails sitting there in front of your face.
Oh, that's fantastic. So a true family business.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I have kids. I love being a dad. That must be really fulfilling to be able to get to do business with your kids.
Yeah, it is something I never experienced, so it's like working out really nice.
That's fantastic.
We do have our moments, but most of the time things flow so well.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so we talked about the gin, we talked about the vodka. So what the heck is this coffee spirit? I know we're going to taste it, but I want to talk a little bit about that.
Coffee spirit, we do basically it's vodka and coffee. It's not a liqueur. There's not a lot. There's no added sugars like corn syrup or any of the caramel colorings or anything like that. It is we use a local coffee roaster, Cova Coffee. This particular batch we have up now is an El Salvador bean, which I really like. El Salvador, kind of a chocolatey, earthy. So we brew it up in our own special way, have the vodka already previously distilled, then redistill the whole batch one more time so you have a clear coffee at your morning coffee at 80 proof, is what I like to say.
So okay, we will consider whether we can have, when we taste it, whether or not we can have a coffee martini for breakfast.
There you go.
We will make that decision, shouldn't we, Matt? I think we should.
I'm totally game.
Okay, so you mentioned something about whiskey. Now, what's your position? You're standing on whiskey there, Matt.
Whether it's with an EY or a Y, I love them all. But typically, I find myself going more towards bourbons these days.
Okay, so you have whiskey in barrels, is that right?
Yes,
Tell me about this.
They're getting. We have some that is getting pretty close. Each time we do a batch of White Dog, we actually spit some out into the whiskey barrels. You can't call it whiskey until it sees oak. So we have some that's pretty close to being acceptably aged, and it is really, really good. We do multiple different grains, different combinations depending on whether it's a 4-grain like we do for our White Dog moonshine. It's a wheat, rye, barley, and spelt. And then we have other options going on too that's sitting in barrels, gathering time.
Yeah, because don't tell anybody, but whiskey. I mean, beer and wine is good, but for me, whiskey is even better.
Yeah.
And I love a good rye whiskey. Okay, so when will the first whiskey come out of the barrel that we could?
I'll conservatively say 6 months. We'll see. It'll have a nice age to it. Might be sooner, might be a little later. It's all by taste.
Okay, and maybe Matt and I should come back and do another Portland Culinary podcast episode just to drink the whiskey and make sure it's okay.
Yep.
To help you.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. Evaluate the age.
Would you be emotionally available for that, Matt?
I would. I'm totally a guinea pig for whiskey.
Okay, now you do something that is, for the average spirit fan, that is totally different. You do aquavit, and you don't just do aquavit. You have 8 different aquavits. So for those that don't know, what is aquavit?
Aquavit, it is a Scandinavian spirit. It evolved around the same time as gin, where gin is a juniper forward. Aquavit is a caraway forward. So it can go from straight caraway to a plethora of different botanicals you can put into it. We do our like Oli, one of the ones you will sample right now, is caraway, fennel, dill, orange peel, lemon peel. There's 8 botanicals. It's got like a triple gold, a best in show, bronze on it. It's very tasty. But the thing is with aquavits, traditionally, mind you, you would pair up a different aquavit with a different course as you eat and drink all day. So we've kind of followed that route, and we've done appetizer line, main meal line for your heavier dishes, your steaks, your beef, your pork, reindeer, whatever you happen to be eating, and then we have a dessert side too. So at the end of the meal, you can have a little dessert with your cigar.
Sounds like my kind of meal.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so what the heck made you decide to not just make aquavit, but 8? I know what you said 8 because you want one for every meal. Why did you choose aquavit? That's not everybody distills that.
Yeah, there's quite a few distilleries in the States that do 1 or 2, and my son, Tim, actually came up with, let's go with this line. We have an in-law that actually is a Norwegian heritage, and it kind of led us into doing aquavits. So we wanted to try something different. Everybody does gin, everybody does vodka. A lot of people do whiskeys, et cetera, but very few do a full line of aquavit.
Yeah, my grandma is Norwegian, so I suppose I owe it to my heritage to drink lots of aquavit.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So what makes for a good distiller?
90% of it is being able to taste and smell what you're doing. If you can go by the aroma alone, you're right up there at the top echelon. You don't always have to taste in order to decide what the flavors are. You need to have patience when you distill, and you need to be able to have good elbow grease for when you clean things, because most of the time you're cleaning equipment.
Yeah, I tell people, and at least in the craft beer world, brewers are janitors.
Yes.
Lots and lots and lots and lots of cleaning. I mean, you think cleaning a flat top is tough. Try cleaning a whole system.
That you have to climb inside of.
I can only imagine the level of detail that you'd have to do to get it right.
Yeah, there is a lot of detail, a lot of different steps you go through to make sure everything is absolutely pristine clean.
So how much did your engineering science background contribute to you being a successful distiller, you think?
Actually, quite a bit. It makes it, it's almost like the back of my hand when it comes to the equipment, the physical process of doing it. The hard part for me is the taste and the evolving the recipes, and that's where our master distiller comes in. Tim comes up with these recipes that are just killer.
Yeah, because I think that distilling is equal parts, science, magic, and artistry.
Yes, and a lot of luck.
That's the magic part, right?
Right, yeah.
You just say, no, that was on purpose, it was magic. So you must have somewhere, I used to not think of myself as creative because I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't sing. But I didn't, those are traditionally viewed as creative outlets. But for me, part of my creative is cooking. What's in the fridge and what can I do with it? And I love that creative expression. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have some creativity in your background just for this. I know a lot of science in distilling, but, good brewers, good distillers, good winemakers, it's science and creativity. Is that?
Absolutely, yeah. I know all my life I've been pretty much, I consider myself at least a little bit of an artist. A lot of photography, a lot of ceramics, a lot of woodworking, and that all kind of adds up to making that flair of being able to go outside the box and do what you want to do.
Yeah, because then you can do things like come up with fried avocado tacos.
Yes, absolutely. Sound killer.
I got to ask, so like how many rounds do you typically go through as far as like testing recipes and batches before you're just like, man, we just nailed this one, or does it kind of come off?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll use gin for an example. Joan probably went through close to 100 different rounds, different tests to come up with a gin, and then once it got to the 90% point, it ended up being multiple runs more of variations to get everything where it needed to be.
Just finding what you were like.
Just finding where it needed to be. And
it.
then when you upscale to a different still or you change stills, it all changes. Because unlike cooking, it's not linear. You may have, let's say, 1 star anise flour in a very small batch, but you only end up needing 1 star anise in flour in 1,000 times as great a batch. So
wow.
It's quite a tuning process.
Puts the guessing game into it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
A lot of guesswork.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Roy, told me this. I put it in my first book. He's a chef, has Retrolicious food cart, wonderful guy, mobile food cart around Portland. And he kind of blew my mind when he told me salt's not an algorithm. When you make a dish and you put, an eighth of a teaspoon of salt, and then you make it 10 times bigger of a recipe, you don't necessarily put 10/8 of a teaspoon, because salt doesn't necessarily, and I assume salt doesn't work out that way, in cooking. When you make a big batch, you got to figure how much salt you need for this big batch. And I assume it's similar then, just like you said with the star anise.
Yes, absolutely. Using that as an example, you never can tell exactly what your flavor is going to be, what the push is going to be as far as the flavor comes when it comes out of that still.
Amazing. Okay, I think we should drink some of the stuff. Matt and I will drink it. That's our duty and our job, and we will do it.
Yes.
And you can tell us.
Job.
So what should we start with?
We have vodka up there. Let's start with the vodka. Like I say, I'm my favorite spirit's vodka, so we wanted to make it real tasty. It is an organic non-GMO wheat. It's distilled on a reflux-style column, so it's an equivalent way we've got it set up. It's equivalent of 10 single-pass distillations, actually a little bit better than that. I can conservatively say it makes it easy on the palate, easy to go down, and easy the next day.
So what's a 10 single-pass distillations? What the heck does that mean?
Your normal, I think most people see a still and it comes out the other end. That's a one-step distillation. On a reflux-style column, it's a little more scientific in the fact that it's a column's packed full of material. So as the alcohol vapors rise, the heavier molecules collect and fall back down, and the alcohol gets higher proof and cleaner as it climbs the column to where it's coming out about 190 proof.
That
Nice.
does not taste like 190 proof.
Oh,
so
well,
that could
it's
be
not.
pretty
Yeah, right. Yeah. If it were 190 proof, you'd know real fast.
Yeah.
I love. What do you think of this vodka, Matt?
I feel like I could get in trouble with that. It's so smooth. It's just kind of like you get the flavors of the vodka, but very subtle, and it's just super smooth and really drinkable and just really nice.
That's the whole idea. Since I like my vodka, it's got to be good.
I can imagine you tasting more of the cranberries with your
it's
favorite
like
cocktail.
wave the cranberry atop the glass and
be
done with it. Yeah.
I'd be a happy camper with that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next one we should go to?
The next one you have there is a gin, Joan's Gin. She does 12 different botanicals, obviously juniper forward because it's got to be juniper in order to call it gin. but she likes her gin and tonics, gin martinis, and this is a really well-balanced gin with coriander, cardamom, orange peel, lemon peel, all sorts of good things going on.
Yeah, I would love this. Gin is my favorite, breakfast drink. And then in the evening, I like a gin martini with 3 olives. Yep. This is phenomenal, but I'll bet this makes one hell of a gimlet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She likes the variations, and she can do some really nice cocktails with it.
Yeah. For those who know, a gimlet, perfect summer drink. You've got gin and you've got some roses lime juice. It's just perfect. It's just refreshing and fantastic. Or a gin and tonic. This would be great with a gin and tonic.
Yes. There are some good tonics out there. You always got to make sure you do a good tonic, because a bad tonic's going to make, no matter how good a gin it is, it's going to take it down. So you want to do both upscale.
So, no, I know you like whiskey. Any familiarity with gin at all in your world?
Yeah, a very little bit, but I'm learning all these amazing new things today. I think this gin, I definitely really appreciate the floral and like zestiness of that orange peel. Like you just get a little bit, like a very nice little bit of citrus, and then just nose floral. That's just really nice, and I could see this just going well with so many different things. Like
Absolutely.
Super versatile gin. That's just super tasty.
Yeah, my girlfriend likes a vodka martini with just a lemon twist, very basic.
Very good. Yes.
I bet I could give her this gin with either maybe a mandarin orange twist or a lemon twist, and I bet she would love it because that citrus is kind of in the background, but it's there, just like you picked up, Matt. Yeah. Really nice.
Yes.
Maybe we can convert her from vodka to gin without.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Okay, what's the next thing we're trying?
Next, I've got our traditional, our flagship aquavit.
That instead of the coffee?
Yeah,
Okay.
Save your coffee for the last one, because it's like tasting wine. You could go from the Chardonnays to the darkers.
Okay, so we're into the aquavit.
Into the aquavits. So this is our Oli. This is our flagship. This would be paired up more with appetizers, breads, cheeses, smoked salmon. We actually marinate salmon in it. But it is a caraway, fennel, dill, orange peel, lemon peel. It's got 8 different botanicals. It's got a triple gold, a best in show. It's got a bronze on it from one of the biggest contests in the world, and it's really tasty. We've had numerous people totally enjoy it that are from Scandinavian heritage, and they really appreciate this aquavit.
Yeah, I love. So tell me how I can say Oli. What's the English pronunciation of the second name?
It's Björkeval.
Oli Björkeval. Would you have gotten that out of that?
Definitely not.
Yeah,
There's
me
6
neither.
syllables in there.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, so Oli Björkeval, it's not just a myth. That's a real person.
Yes.
It's part of your family, for real.
Yes, absolutely. Came to the States back in the 20s from Norway. When he was like 14, 15, started halibut fishing out of Seattle, ended up buying his own schooner. Halibut schooner, ended up sending money back home to Norway so the family could buy the farm. It's like, geez, how can you beat that story? So we not only named it after him, started a little line after it, but then we put the story on the bottle.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm reading it right here in the back. That is fantastic. I love that. That is great. Okay, so this is one of 8 aquavits.
Yes.
Okay, I've got your website up. I want to talk about a couple of these because this is, so what the heck is the Gamli?
Gommel.
Gommel?
It's Swedish for old.
Okay.
Aged holiday. And the holiday is more of our dessert line. It is caraway, but we like the Oli, the flagship, but we pull back on the dill, add cardamom, allspice, and cinnamon, and all of a sudden you got pumpkin pie in a glass.
So you've got 2 holiday aquavits.
Yes.
The regular, and then you've got the barrel aged in a Cobb Franc barrel.
Yes.
Okay, I got to come back Christmas and get some of that.
Oh, yeah, it's real tasty. Yeah, it's definitely that.
Have that with some pecan pie or something.
Oh, yeah, we actually put the either one of them in whipped cream, for example, and toss it on pie. We actually, instead of as Matt would know, we replace the water with alcohol, and we actually replace the water in pie crust with the aquavit, and it makes the crust totally flaky and extra good.
I gotta come to your guys' holiday parties for sure, because that sounds like some killer desserts.
Yeah, hell yeah, we can make that anytime. It's my daughter's favorite is pumpkin pie, but we swap it out with the aquavit.
My mind is blown right now. I want to do like a Thanksgiving event somehow, some way where we make those aquavit pumpkin pies and promote them. There's got to be a way.
Yep.
Thanksgiving in April.
Yeah,
There you go.
maybe Booze Hound. She bakes with booze all the time.
She uses our regular. She's used our regular aquavit. In fact, we have a couple little cakes, apple strudel thingamabobbers that are in the freezer right now with that aquavit.
Okay, so this holiday season, I'll promote an event where people can come get her stuff and your stuff, and that will be phenomenal.
There you go.
Because her stuff is amazing. Okay, so we tried the Ole, then you've got Old Ole.
Right, and it's the Ole aged in French oak. Puts another twist on it. Again, we start to step out of the box when it comes to aquavit, and aquavit is either straight up or aged in unused oak. We decided we wanted to try some, as an experiment, aged oak. And from different sources, wine, whiskey barrels, and combined, they all make a really interesting flavors.
Okay, so we talked about, we got the first two were Ole and Old Ole. Then we talked about the two holiday ones. One is barrel aged, one is not.
Yes.
Okay, and now we got four left. Old Goat Toffel, is that right?
Yeah, Toffel. It's considered Toffel's kind of kind of a translation of just your table wine.
So Old Goat Toffel.
Old Goat. Yeah, I think my son named it after me.
It sounds like that's an honor.
Yeah, right. Definitely. But it is a little more traditional in the fact that it's a caraway, star anise, and lemon, orange peel, and that's it.
And a little bit of hops.
And a little bit of hops.
A little bit of hops, which is interesting.
Yeah, we do Cascade and Willamette hops and actually grow them in our yard. I've got huge plants.
Okay, and then tell me about the Brown Bear.
Brown Bear. It was something different we wanted to try. It was caraway, fennel, dill, or caraway, fennel, no dill, orange peel, lemon peel, hops, and then we age it in used rye whiskey barrels. Again, outside the box, but it turned out to be very, very tasty.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, so 8 different aquavits. That's just crazy, but they're all good. They're all different.
Yes, all different.
So Matt, I made the little quip about fried tacos because you Stella Tacos do amazing fried tacos and great for vegans or vegetarians. If you leave the cheese on or off, I've had them. They're exquisite. So Jacob, where do you happen to know Jacob? Don't you?
Yes,
Rick?
absolutely. Yes, yeah, we've worked with him numerous times. He's a great guy.
Wonderful guy. Cocktails on Tap is his book. He did a whole book on beer cocktails. A beautiful book. Wonderful human being. He also happens to be the founder of Aquavit Week, which he's taken to multiple cities now. But it started here in Portland. And so I think maybe you should do like an Aquavit caraway taco during Aquavit Week and have an Aquavit cocktail. I don't know. Could you do a Aquavit horchata?
The wheels are definitely spinning in the mind. I think we'd definitely just have to try some more Aquavit to feel like
if you end up doing that, I will promote it and show up because that would be a fun event for some evening. Everybody come get an Aquavit caraway taco of some kind and some kind of Aquavit cocktail that you'd put on. I don't know if you could do Aquavit horchata, but maybe.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what's this now?
Then the last one we have there is, what did I bring over?
I think that was the wild boar.
That was the wild boar. The wild boar is a straight caraway, and it is aged in, again, used rye whiskey barrels, and it is pretty doggone tasty.
So the difference between this and the brown bear is the brown bear is traditional, aged in used whiskey barrels,
right.
Whereas, but it's got Aquavit, caraway, orange, lemon peel, whereas this is just straight caraway.
Straight caraway.
You really kind of get that too on like the nose, like just like a good caraway, and then like that, like doing that in the rye barrels, you just get like a little bit of char, which is just really nice.
Yeah. I want this with something that's just a really fatty, amazing, big piece of meat or something. That would be perfect.
It pairs up really well with your heavier, savory dishes.
I bet like that the salmon that you soak in the aquavit too, that would be really killer with this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and what are we closing with?
We'll do the coffee, after dinner coffee. It is straight vodka and coffee. We work with Cova Coffee. It gets us a really excellent bean. This is an El Salvador bean we're using right now. We brew it up in our own special way, distill it out, and you get your clear and clean cup of coffee at 80 proof.
Okay, you said after dinner, but we're supposed to have coffee for breakfast.
Okay, breakfast.
So would this work for a coffee martini for breakfast?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, you get like a little bit of the smoky roasted notes, but just with like a little bit of like the bitter sweetness, I like the kind of like a chocolatey bittersweet, you know?
Yep.
That's phenomenal.
Yep, and we found with the different coffees where if you normally could taste the difference between them, you can taste the difference. But once you distill, the differences become huge, and they stand out like rocket ships.
So the nuances and the beans themselves just get amplified when you do the distilling?
Totally.
Wow.
So my mind is whirling. I want to, I can put this in, a martini shaker and shake it up and have a coffee martini. But I want to come up with some other breakfast, rolling river coffee spirit martini cocktails for breakfast.
I think we can do that.
I don't know what they would be. I can't. But there's got to be some cool stuff that could be done with this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure if we tossed that at my daughter, she'd come up with a half a dozen different cocktails off the same phone call.
Yeah. Yeah, I want some breakfast coffee spirit cocktails.
Yep, there you go.
There you go.
I don't know, maybe some brown sugar and some bacon. I don't know.
We've done bacon drinks, bacon and coffee before. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did Portland BLT Week last year, and one of the participants, they did, some of them made cocktails to pair with their BLTs, and he did a traditional, there's an old school cocktail where you rub the inside of the glass with bacon fat, then you put the whiskey in, and then you put a slice of bacon. And it's old school. I mean, I thought he made something up, and I go, no, it's for real. It's a long time ago, and it worked. You get from the bacon fat, you get the smell of the bacon in the glass, and it worked with the whiskey.
That sounds amazing.
Very interesting.
I've only tried like I guess they call it, like the term is washing, so like bacon wash, spirits. But yeah, that idea of like the application to the glass itself, as well as like having the garnish of the bacon strip in there, I think that would
work with this.
Yeah, definitely take it to the next level and just give it such a really nice mouthfeel too.
Yeah, kind of like along the lines of martini when you're swishing the vermouth and toss it so it's extra dry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so your distillery is right here in Portland.
Yes.
We're recording right here in your distillery, which is really awesome. And then you have a tasting room, so people can come to the tasting room and try all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a nice little comfortable tasting room, a place for those that don't want to drink. They can sit on the couch and relax, read magazines. But those that do, we have a full bar, a full tasting room bar, where we have all our spirits on the shelf, and everybody can do a flight of the variations and enjoy themselves.
And then can they buy the bottles and take them out of here?
Yes, we absolutely sell the bottles here, and most of the bottles are sold at liquor stores throughout Oregon. Oregon, as a control state, you can actually pick up any bottle of anything from any liquor store if you ask for it. They may not carry it on the shelf, but
they'll bring it in.
They'll bring it in.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, now I lived in Minnesota for 3 years. A lot of Scandinavian people out that way.
Yes.
Are you in Minnesota yet?
Not yet. We're working on it. We do a couple of festivals here, Portland Scandinavian Fest, first part of December, and then coming up is the Astoria Scandinavian Festival in June, I believe, and it's usually pretty intense. So again, Scandinavian folks, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, all those guys come out of the woodwork to enjoy these festivals, and we're presenting our spirits at these, and they really enjoy it.
Well, when you launched in Minnesota, I just want to tell you, I'm emotionally able to go help promote in Minnesota.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, because I've been there, have connections there. I know some people. Not all of them drink, but maybe we could fix that.
Yeah, right. You don't have to drink to make money.
Well, with this product, yeah.
Just telling people. This is just, the aquavit's phenomenal.
Thank you.
The vodka is incredibly smooth and it's dangerously smooth vodka, actually.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, and really good. I love a good gin. Joan, hats off to you. Fantastic gin. And she's smiling and nodding. Nicely done. The coffee spirits still mess with my head. I got to come up with some. Once I come up with some breakfast cocktails with it, then I will calm down. But it's like there's something there that just I think would be fantastic. I mean, I don't know what it would be yet, but I'll come up with it. So it's just exciting. I really, really love the stuff that you do.
Good.
Glad that we got to tell your story. And I'm not kidding about Booze Hounds event. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
And I was not kidding about the Aquavit week. No one's ever done, I think, Aquavit tacos. I think that would be something.
I think we're totally up for the challenge. It sounds super fun.
Swap your water out.
There you go.
Swap your water.
The 1-for-1. There you go. Aquavit tortilla shells.
Yes.
Absolutely. Aquavit tortilla. It took us a while to get there, but
boom.
Boom.
Yep. And then you could throw some the hot pepper into your because with either the Trinidad or habanero, you get the full flavor of the pepper without the heat. Then you can adjust your heat.
Do that in like some salsa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The wheels are on full turn.
Yeah, I want an aquavit tortilla with some really good your pork. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And then put some of the rolling river habanero in the salsa, and have an aquavit cocktail or an aquavit horchata. I think it would work. I've been thinking. I think an aquavit horchata would work. Mm-hmm. I think you take the oli and a little bit of horchata. It'd be my brother Marco. He grew up in Mexico. We make him come and blow his mind.
Yep. This is how we do it in the Pacific Northwest.
That's right. Yeah.
Norwegian tacos. All right. Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you, Matt. Fantastic job co-hosting. You're fantastic. It's awesome. I love what you do at Stella Taco. That will literally be my next stop. I need me some tacos, so I'm headed there now once I get everything put away. But again, thank you so much, Rick. Hats off to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
You've done a great job. And again, thank you for all you do volunteering for the Oregon Distillers Guild. I know you put a lot of time and effort into that. That's very, very important. We have a lot of really cool distillers, wonderful things happening here in Oregon.
Absolutely.
We celebrate craft, and one of those things is craft distilling. So I appreciate that.
You're more than welcome. I appreciate you having me here today.
You got it. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Cheers.